At this point here, they're going to be building right on the other side of this fence, according to what their maps and their plans showed. You got 2 miles between here and the 74, and they want to build right here.
They bought land on both sides of us, so it goes to the north and to the east and to the south. So this community that we're in is horseshoed in by this Burlington Northern.
It's supposed to be the biggest laydown yard in the United States.
I didn't get the property to sell, I got it to live in, you know, and live happily ever after.
Think about it. A massive 4,300-acre BNSF railway logistics hub and transportation center could become her neighbor on 2 sides.
Man, it's going to be lit up day and night, and it's going to be a customs depot also.
Who knows? I really don't know what's going to happen now. Might be time to retire.
Want to keep walking around, or what?
Yeah, you're tired of standing?
Yeah.
We can keep walking. I'll show you what.
Yeah, let's.
I'll just kind of show you what we do out here. So that's my wife's fraternity horse. We call her the Pretty Mess. If you've ever watched, my wife named her the Pretty Mess. If you've ever watched The Real Housewives of Orange County, there's a lady on there named Erica Jane, and she's pretty. And my wife named her we own her mom, and my wife's won about 20,000 on her the last 2 months.
Wow.
In the fraternity. She's 5 years old this year, and we're really proud of her. Own her mom. Selected her dad, and we have a lot of relatives out there, and she's got a pretty big personality and loves people, loves getting petted on, and enjoys being out here in the country. And then when she goes to town, she participates in that. But that horse over there is her half brother, and so he's two years old this year. Again, we own the mom, so the mom, we bred him, raised him, and got him to this point. It's like you're trying to cross Kobe Bryant with Serena Williams. That's what you're trying to do, right? That's the name of the game, and which cross makes the best athlete.
Multiple generations of large family breeding.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that is one of my favorite movies.
I'm Riley Miner, 11-time NFR team roper. I came out here to Wittmann when I was probably 15 years old, and my grandparents bought a place out here. And I'm from Washington State, but I like the warm weather, so we come down here and we work at our craft in the wintertime. That's team roping. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Sunday or Saturday. If we're home, we're trying to get better. But rodeo, it's, up and down. We've had good years, we've had bad, but just got to take the good with the bad and hope you got more good than bad.
Yeah. What Burlington Northern's wanting to do right now, what their initial plan is, and they haven't told us how they're going to protect us residents, but they want to put 2 major warehouses on the backside of the property that I own, which is a huge impact to us. And they don't say how far off the fence, they don't say how far off the property line. But if you think of a warehouse that's 40 feet tall and 200 feet wide by however many feet long, but just envisioning that 303 warehouse, all of a sudden what happens is it's not just the appearance of it, But then it's all the trucks and traffic that's going to be going around the facility 24/7 to take off of rail cars. So that's not what this area was set up for, because we have livestock and colts and animals, and it's a breeding facility, right? And then you think about the pollution from the rail system, all the traffic that's going around it. Call it the engines just sitting there idling as they move cars around, right? And then you do all this research and reading on it and see the negative impacts to the health environment and what people have done, or they say they've allocated, they'll paint people's houses every 5 years because of the pollution that sticks to the houses. Well, then you start doing that. What's that do to the health of the people that live out here, health of the animals that live out here? I know there's endangered species that, the burrowing owl is out here in this area. There's the desert tortoise out here in this area. Arizona Game and Fish put a document in replying back to Burlington Northern saying all these, I think there was like 30 or 40 species that they needed to come up with a mitigation plan for. But the county of Arizona was going to, and it could happen in March, that they might approve Burlington Northern's permit to change the zoning without a mitigation plan to protect desert animals that are already existing, right? So I'm not sure how that is liable, and how the state of Arizona and even Maricopa County can approve that without understanding the mitigation plan first.
I'm afraid people are going to want to sell out and move out of here, so it's kind of scary because the land prices might go down. They're pretty high right now, but if most of the people that are here most of them are retired, and they don't want all the traffic, and they came out here because it's nice and peaceful, and if that happens, and they're going to probably want to leave, and then who's going to want to buy all these horse places? I don't know what'll happen, but I sure don't want it to happen.
Here, stop for just a second. I got it. I'll open the gate and you can ride in, and then you can dump it in.
So I'm Laura Deaver. This is my husband, Kyle. Yeah, we have one daughter. She's 7. We first came down here in 2010, and we actually stayed over on the street next to where we're at right now. We stayed there for about a year and decided that this was the community that we wanted to put our roots down and establish. So we moved into our house and we rented it for a year, and then we ended up buying it about 12 and a half years ago. So we've been here ever since.
I'm just gonna reach in.
It's been life-changing. If they could have it their way, they would be out here from sunup to sundown. I mean, we have to call them in at night when it gets dark and wrangle them back in, because we know that they're happy and they're safe. They can play outside, and they're out here all the time. But being out here, it makes it a lot easier. We don't have to, watch her every second when she's outside. I can go and do some laundry or, answer a phone call, and I know that she's okay out here. Spent more effort into this than I would probably like to admit. We are told that this was the plan, and if we don't like it, then pretty much tough luck. But we haven't even touched on the wildlife issues, the water issues, waste contamination. I mean, we're sitting right next to a giant wash that floods.
That's a main wash that leads down to a wash that goes through Phoenix.
When it floods, it comes all the way from Prescott through our property. So it can be raining in Prescott and it will flood here. I've asked BNSF employees, their representatives, they said that they have those issues. They're taking them into concerns. And I said, what happens if your flood measures don't work? And they said that they can't address those concerns because they haven't happened yet. And I said, well, are you guys going to pay for it if and when it does happen? And they said they wouldn't answer that. Not that they couldn't, but they would not answer it.
So Burlington Northern, at their town hall, they held what we thought was going to be an informative meeting, right? They were going to tell us, okay, we're going to put up this earthen berm, and we're going to put up this to protect the lights, and we're going to put this up to reduce the sound. We're going to do this to protect the wells. And all they talked about at it was how they make railroad car wheels, right? And then so people would walk up the neighborhoods, my wife and some other of us out here would walk up and ask specific questions of, so what are you going to do? Where are you drilling your wells at? And somebody'd say, I don't know. And somebody else would go, okay, what are you doing for traffic control to even construct the facility? What is going to be the access for your construction workers? Because it anticipated that you'll have a lot of construction workers out here, and the response would be, I don't know. So they were not informative to the questions that we asked. All they were was trying to tell us how they built wheels, which we don't care about.
So my name's Josh. I'm a dentist in Wickenburg, and we moved out here just so we could have a bunch of crazy kids running around on the property. Well, we have 3, but we always have extras, it seems. Like they just show up. Climb it. Let's see who can climb it. No, you gotta start from the bottom. Yeah, so if you want, I'll just kind of show you around the property.
Please. Christmas. Cool. This is Guido. This is Luca.
We have.
And then this is Tinkerbell.
Yeah, how would you describe their lifestyle right now? Because obviously, in our way in Phoenix, like kids are not living like this.
When their friends come over, it's like, my kids don't understand that this is not normal for most kids.
Yeah.
Because, I grew up in the South and like we got turned loose. It was just like, we were just let be kids. And that's kind of what I wanted when I moved out here.
Yeah.
So.
He has a little dirt bike.
I'll come home from work and that's what he'll be doing. He'll just meet me at the driveway, just like go into town.
Push it in the back. I'll push it then. You get on.
So what they're proposing is roughly 4 miles because they're going to join 211th and they're going to join 235th. It's supposed to be the biggest laydown yard in the United States. It's unreal what they're proposing and how it's going to affect, for one, the lifestyle, and for 2, just everyday living. Because the horse industry it's not a hobby. It's literally a lifestyle. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to stay here. I don't know what that's going to look like, honestly.
Majority, I would say 90% of the people that live out in this community are horse people. Right, they're barrel racers, team ropers, breakaway ropers, or just horse enthusiasts that like the trail ride. That's the greatest part about this community. The majority of the people out here rely on that, and that's their sport, right? So they make a living off going to town and competing, so they train horses at home, and or they'll sell horses at sales. And the majority of the residents that live out here have income of that type that they survive on, right? So if they don't have the ability to do that anymore, or that's detriment, and you hear a loud noise and train banging, and all of a sudden there's people in their 70s and 80s that ride horses around here, right? And all of a sudden he's riding a horse that he's training on, and a major alarm goes off that horse has never heard before. The horse is going to spook. Now there's certain members out here that are not that way, but they wanted the rural lifestyle. They wanted to be out in a community of people that wanted to appreciate the quietness of being out rural, but also that I call it the equestrian community bond or knowing each other is they wanted to be involved in that. They may not have horses, they may not even like horses, but they wanted to be around people that did that. So the state basically sold the land to Burlington Northern at almost a third the value that a similar piece of property sold for a year before. I think as taxpayers in Arizona should should be very concerned about that Burlington Northern was able to purchase property at a third of its value when a property within literally right across the street, similar, sold for $125 million. If this was an industrial complex, hey, that's what I expect, right? But when you buy property with state land around it, thinking the state's going to protect you and keep an in-like community coming into it, and then they do this and greatly change the makeup of the residents and the land and the use of the land, that doesn't seem that it's the best thing for the Arizona taxpayers and protection of state land. Yeah, so that's the power of the railroad, right, and their politicians and what they can do.
So you just want me to tell a little about who I am and that kind of stuff? Well, I was raised in Utah, and I used to rodeo professionally. The last 10 years that I rodeoed, I was living in southern Idaho, and I lived there until, it's been about 18 years ago. And part of the reason I built here is because of that. That's a wide open spaces and beautiful landscape out across there, and we can ride their horses and stuff out across there. I did see a map that they sent me, and they've got a big warehouse planned to go right here, and just right across my road, and then they've got an entrance coming off this road, Cloud Road, and that isn't appealing to me. I don't like the idea of that. I didn't get the property to sell, I got it to live in, and live happily ever after. My happily ever after is starting to get buildings on it. So anyway, that's what the perspective is.
It's away from everything. It's kind of a dream place to be, This is what people think about when they think about Arizona. Dirt road, cactus, coyotes. Get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. You got to work in the city every day, but you get to escape to this every day. Let your dogs walk down the dirt road without a leash. Well, we found out they bought it from BLM, which is still surprising that Bureau of Land Management, who's supposed to be the caretakers of the land, actually sold it to the railroad. They're going to be using this road, which is like 20 foot across, 15 foot across. It's just a small 2-lane dirt road. They're going to be using this road to come in and out of this place to build it and to use it once they start unloading trains. At this point here, they're going to be building right on the other side of this fence according to what their maps and their plans showed. You got 2 miles between here and the 74, and they want to build right here.
I try not to think about that side of it, because if you do, you will lose a lot of sleep at night. A lot of sleep.